what's got you what's got you really fired up and angry and upset and rolling your eyeballs? Meghan Markle.
This is what I think is happening with this all that in a bag of chips thing. I think she's trying to take over Google, the search algorithm.
She never fails to deliver. The second series of her With Love, Meghan is back.
That sort of thing. Because she was mocked, rightly so, for the rebagging of the pretzels. She's trying to take back over bag.
It turns out, just when you thought Meghan Markle couldn't get any more annoying, she also likes green smoothies.
You know, the bag of chips, bag of snacks, that sort of thing. I got it. That's what she's doing.
She was a social climber who kept climbing. First Hollywood, then Prince Harry.
Why didn't I think of this before? Bam! Lawyered!
Then the royal family, then Netflix. She always believed there was some next level of prestige.
I always yell that sometimes when I make points because did you ever see How I Met Your Mother? What was it? Marshall used to say lawyered when he make a good point.
Waiting for her. But in chasing more and more and more, she ended up
lawyered. All right. Anyway, no, I think I'm on to
exactly what Frasier did. On the outside alley, staring at the garbage with no way back in.
I know what you're talking about. I put myself last night through 2 episodes of this thing.
And cracks me up every time I think of that episode. Because that shows grief.
It looks like Meghan Markle has just made one of the boldest moves of her career, and it has the entire royal watching world talking. In a surprising turn, Meghan has been praised as very wise after releasing the second season of her Netflix series With Love, Meghan, a project that, for the first time, puts her entirely in the spotlight while Prince Harry and their children are nowhere to be seen. For many, this decision has sparked speculation about her intentions. Is Meghan quietly carving out her own empire as a lifestyle influencer, or is this simply a calculated step to redefine how the public sees her? Either way, the move has caught the attention of experts and fans alike, fueling fresh conversations about where the Sussex brand is heading next. When Meghan dropped the second season of her Netflix series With Love, Meghan, it was clear from the very first episode that something had changed. Unlike past Sussex projects, where Harry and the children often made small appearances, this time the cameras focused entirely on Meghan. There were no family cameos, no glimpses of Archie or Lilibet playing in the background, not even a moment with Harry offering support. Instead, Meghan crafted a world centered around herself, her conversations, her recipes, her guests, and her vision. Royal expert Jennie Bond noted that this wasn't an accident, but a deliberate strategy. According to her, Meghan wanted the spotlight to stay firmly on her, and Harry deliberately kept out of the way to make sure of it. The decision marks a dramatic shift, separating this show from their earlier ventures like Harry and Meghan, which heavily leaned on their personal story. This time, Meghan presented herself not as half of a couple, but as the driving force of a brand. It raised an important question for viewers. Was this just about creative control, or was it the beginning of Meghan stepping out from the shadow of her royal marriage? What stood out most in this new chapter of Meghan's Netflix journey is how clearly she positioned herself not as a duchess tied to the crown, but as a modern influencer shaping her own brand. Royal commentator Jennie Bond went as far as to call her very wise for keeping the series focused on her personal passions instead of her royal connections. And when you look at the content, the reasoning becomes obvious. With Love, Meghan is less about titles, tradition, or royal duties, and far more about lifestyle, showcasing recipes, crafts, and heart-to-heart conversations with guests in an intimate, relatable way. Meghan talks about Harry and the children briefly, but only in passing, almost as if to remind viewers of their presence without making them central to the narrative. By doing this, she carefully walks a line between acknowledging her family and making it clear that this project belongs to her alone. Analysts suggest this is no small move. It's a deliberate pivot from being defined as Prince Harry's wife to being recognized as Meghan Markle, the influencer, entrepreneur, and cultural figure in her own right. It echoes the path of other celebrities who turned lifestyle ventures into empires and signals that Meghan may be mapping out something much bigger than just a Netflix series. The message is subtle but powerful. Meghan isn't just surviving outside the royal fold, she's reinventing herself as a brand that can stand alone. While Meghan's presence dominates the new season, one of the most striking details is the near-total absence of Prince Harry. According to royal expert Jennie Bond, this was not an oversight but a deliberate choice. Harry intentionally stepped back so the spotlight could shine solely on his wife. To some, this comes across as a supportive move, with Harry quietly letting Meghan take center stage while he avoids overshadowing her project. But to others, it sparks questions that go beyond creative direction. Why would Harry, once so vocal and present in their joint endeavors, suddenly fade into the background? Some observers suggest this is all part of a carefully calculated branding strategy, with Meghan taking the lead as the face of their media ventures while Harry focuses on his own projects in the background. But online chatter has already fueled speculation about whether Harry truly feels comfortable in this supporting role, or if he's reluctantly stepping aside as Meghan carves out her space. Viewers couldn't help but notice that in a show filled with personal touches and warm conversations, Harry's absence felt louder than words. Was this simply the mark of a husband backing his wife, or could it be a sign of shifting dynamics behind the scenes? For a couple that has built much of their public identity on partnership, Harry's retreat raised as many questions as it answered. Another detail that caught the public's attention was the guest list Meghan curated for the second season of With Love, Meghan. This wasn't just a random gathering of friends, it was a carefully selected lineup designed to reflect the image she wants to project. Among those featured were Chrissy Teigen, Tan France, David Chang, and Jay Shetty, each bringing their own influence, reputation, and following to the table. Chrissy, with her outspoken personality and massive online presence, reinforces the show's connection to mainstream celebrity culture. Tan France, celebrated for his style and charisma, adds a layer of sophistication and fashion credibility. David Chang, a respected chef and entrepreneur, ties directly into Meghan's lifestyle and culinary branding. And Jay Shetty, known for his wisdom and motivational voice, aligns perfectly with Meghan's interest in mindfulness and self-growth. When placed together, these names form more than just a guest roster. They send a message. Meghan isn't aligning herself with royals or aristocrats. She's embedding herself in Hollywood, influencer culture, and thought leadership circles. This strategy shows how intentional she is about repositioning her image, not as someone defined by royal obligations, but as someone who belongs at the intersection of entertainment, business, and culture. Every guest choice contributes to an evolving narrative. Meghan as a modern tastemaker, a figure who commands attention not because of her title, but because of her influence. The choices may appear casual on the surface, but the calculated nature behind them reveals a much bigger plan at work. While Meghan's curated guest list and polished presentation have been widely praised, royal experts and cultural commentators believe there's more at play than simply producing an entertaining lifestyle show. Jennie Bond suggested that Meghan was very wise to keep the focus on herself, calling the project her baby. This wording alone hints that Meghan sees the series as a cornerstone for something larger, a personal brand built independently of her royal ties. Observers argue that the show is about far more than cooking and crafting. It's a subtle but powerful move into the commercial lifestyle space, where influence can easily be converted into endorsements, collaborations, and product lines. Many fans have already speculated that Meghan could be setting the stage for a business empire similar to Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop or Martha Stewart's lifestyle brand, both of which began with small projects and expanded into multi-million-dollar ventures. By deliberately removing Harry and the children from the spotlight, Meghan ensures that the focus stays squarely on her as the central figure, a strategy that makes sense if she's aiming to establish herself as a standalone icon. To some, it's an empowering move, proving she's not reliant on her royal title to succeed. To others, it raises suspicions about whether the Sussexes are slowly dividing their brand into two distinct identities. Either way, Meghan's decision to make the series entirely her own has sparked conversations that go far beyond recipes and guest chats. It signals ambition, long-term planning, and perhaps the first steps toward building a lifestyle empire with Meghan Markle at its center. The public reaction to Meghan's new series has been as divided as ever, with some praising her independence while others question the motives behind her choices. Supporters see her decision to exclude Harry and the children as proof that she's finally embracing her individuality and showing the world that she can succeed without relying on her royal connections. Social media comments have highlighted how refreshing it is to see Meghan in a space where she appears relaxed, creative, and completely in control of the narrative. Fans have gone as far as to call the show inspiring, saying it presents Meghan as a relatable woman navigating her passions rather than a duchess trapped by expectations. Yet critics have been quick to frame the move differently, suggesting that her absence of family signals a calculated attempt to distance herself from Harry in order to build a separate identity. Tabloids in the UK in particular have leaned heavily into this narrative, questioning whether Meghan's growing focus on her solo projects hints at a shift in the couple's partnership. Media analysts point out that this framing is not new. For years, Meghan has been accused of overshadowing Harry or controlling their public image, and now her Netflix venture adds fuel to those long-standing debates. What complicates the reaction further is how experts themselves are divided. While Jennie Bond and others call Meghan wise, critics interpret the same decision as strategic self-promotion at the expense of the Sussex brand. In the end, the series has not only sparked conversation about Meghan's talent and creativity, but also reignited the ongoing media tug-of-war over her true intentions. Looking at the broader picture, Meghan's decision to take full ownership of her Netflix project may be more than just a creative choice. It could mark the beginning of a complete rebranding of the Sussexes. By stepping into the role of host, influencer, and tastemaker, Meghan is signaling that she is capable of building a platform entirely independent of royal ties or even her partnership with Harry. Analysts suggest this strategy could be about more than short-term publicity. It might be a deliberate attempt to establish Meghan as the face of a lifestyle empire that could rival household names like Gwyneth Paltrow or Oprah Winfrey. For the Sussex brand, this raises intriguing possibilities. Instead of always being presented as a joint unit, the couple may begin dividing their public presence into two parallel paths, Harry focusing on causes such as Invictus and mental health advocacy, while Meghan builds her influencer-driven empire. To some, this division makes sense. It allows each to maximize their strengths and appeal to different audiences. But it also sparks questions about how sustainable this approach is for a couple whose appeal was originally built on their partnership and shared struggles against the institution of the monarchy. Could carving out separate lanes ultimately strengthen their overall influence, or does it risk creating the perception of distance between them? What's clear is that Meghan's project has opened the door to a new phase in the couple's journey, one where the balance between independence and unity will be tested like never before. In the end, Meghan Markle's latest Netflix venture has done more than entertain. It has sparked a wave of conversations about identity, ambition, and strategy. By stepping forward without Harry or the children in the frame, she has signaled a new era where her brand can stand on its own, free from the royal titles that once defined her. Supporters see it as a powerful display of independence and vision, while critics frame it as self-promotion that could risk overshadowing the Sussex partnership. What can't be denied is the impact. Meghan has shown that she knows how to command attention, set the narrative, and build intrigue around her next steps. But the unanswered question lingers. Will Harry continue to remain in the background while Meghan shapes her empire? Or is this simply a temporary arrangement before the couple re-emerges as a united front? For now, the spotlight rests firmly on Meghan, and whether this move strengthens their brand or signals the start of two separate paths is something only time will reveal. One thing is certain. Meghan's latest decision has once again ensured that all eyes remain firmly on her, leaving the world wondering what bold move she'll make next.